and let us all do we can to build a better future. So there's something interesting happening here. We see firsthand, number one. Let me go ahead and get that set up. Hold on. In 3, 2, 1. So we're seeing firsthand the failure of the military-industrial complex and them controlling the narrative. Because people are starting to ask questions about what's happening in Ukraine and also what happened to the Nord Stream pipeline. And for all of us watching this horrifying conflict continue on, it's quite clear that, once again, the media is playing a game. Now, Tulsi Gabbard recently went on Tucker Carlson's show to talk about how, well, the State Department threatened to end the Nord Stream pipeline. I want to play this for all of you, my viewers and subscribers, so you see firsthand something ain't right.
So that Russia couldn't send gas to Europe. Remember this?
I want to be clear with you today. If Russia invades Ukraine, one way or another, Nord Stream 2 will not move forward.
So then in September, somebody blew up the pipelines, and that was the biggest man-made environmental disaster in history. If you're worried about climate change, you should be in tears because of the amount of carbon that emitted into the atmosphere. So it was pretty obvious to us the Biden administration was involved in this. We said that, and we were immediately denounced by the entire left and the entire media as agents of Putin. Why are they doing that? And by the way, when we actually join this war in force, what will they do to anyone who objects to it? Ooh, they're going to punish people. You watch. But with this in mind, we were a little bit surprised to see Toria Nuland essentially admit last week that she did it. Watch this.
Senator Cruz, like you, I am, and I think the administration is very gratified to know that Nord Stream 2 is now, as you like to say, a hunk of metal at the bottom of the sea.
Well, she's excited about it. When it happened, they said, we're upset about it. We have no idea who did this. And if you think we had a hand in it, you're Putin. What are we watching here? Tulsi Gabbard is a former presidential candidate. She joins us tonight. Congresswoman, thank you so much for coming on. So now they're basically admitting it and nobody is saying anything? Why?
That's a depressing part of our media and our political landscape. Our politicians, sooner or later, admit to their crimes. Remember, case in point, corporate media managed to convince millions of Americans and so many others that there were WMDs in Iraq, only to, again, very later, interview said same politicians and say, well, we had to go in there for freedom, dismissing the fact that the whole reason why the war in Iraq took place was, again, to stop supposedly weapons of mass destruction. Saddam and his yellow cake and his deadly weapons of mass destruction programs that threatened the free world. These politicians and their corrupt associates, sooner or later, admit the truth. And where's the outrage from the American people? Where's the outrage from our media? Oh, that's right. Unfortunately, I hate to say this, corporate media has done a phenomenal job in brainwashing millions of Americans. Corporate media has kept a lot of us in the dark. We're supposed to supposedly trust these politicians, these people in the suits and ties. They don't care about you. They don't respect you. We have politicians who've been in power for so many years that they're used to crapping on you because they don't get any pushback from the American people. And journalism here in America, it's controlled by corporations. And if you do speak out against the neoliberal narrative, you're ostracized or you're silenced and suppressed on social media. Let's be very clear here. The Twitter files and yes, the Facebook files reveal firsthand that something's not right, that there are government agencies involved in dictating what can be seen and can't be seen, what will be promoted and what will be silenced. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg's interview with Joe Rogan was eye-opening enough. The Twitter files that were released, thanks to the work of Matt Taibbi, revealed so much. We're being lied to. We're being censored. We're purposely kept in the dark. And if you're not angry, you should be.
I think there's two really important things for the American people to take away from what you have just outlined here. Number one is that statement from Victoria Nuland just exposed her and the administration's truth, which is that they have been lying to us all along about this. There's no way the United States was not either involved or knew about this or at the very minimum approved it. So they've been lying to us. They've been deceiving us, saying, hey, look, the United States had absolutely nothing to do with this, while also trying to sell us the absurd lie that, well, of course, Russia somehow exploded their own energy infrastructure to hurt their own economic interests. That it just shows how stupid they think we are, that we would buy such an absurd argument. Their lying to us shows us yet again that we can't trust anything that they're saying. We can't trust any of these narratives that are coming out of the mainstream media. The second thing that's important to recognize that is very dangerous is that they are setting a precedent through what her statements are and their actions, that now that it is acceptable to go and essentially use sabotage against infrastructure as an acceptable strategy. So we have to look at our own vulnerabilities in this area, whether it's the undersea cables, our communication systems, our financial systems, our own power grid and energy system vulnerabilities. The list goes on and on. The argument is very clear. Hey, look, if it's okay to go after and bomb and destroy Russia's oil and gas infrastructure, why would it not then be okay for someone else to come and attack our own, exploit our own vulnerabilities here? So this.
By the way, folks, just so you all know, remember the Colonial Pipeline? Now, here's the thing. If you're a foreign power, I don't think you need to worry about hurting our own supply lines. Oops. If you're a foreign power, you don't have to worry about our own supply lines being hit hard because, and unfortunately, I hate saying this, our pipelines are built cheaply. Our pipelines are not built in a way that are sustainable. Our pipelines leak on purpose. You know, they're built cheaply. But if someone were to do that, you know, this country would be screaming bloody murder. Unfortunately, we have a system where, you know, our corporations are dictating to us what they want done. And that is they want ongoing war. The media wants to have more ongoing war, more sensational stories to cover. I want to play the rest of this video again for all of you, just so you can see firsthand just how devastating, again, this conflict with Russia could be. Because this man-made disaster that took place, sabotage took place, it wasn't Russia that did it. And let's face it, Europe does need those resources, unfortunately. You know, we are relied on fossil fuels, and fossil fuels do play a significant role in regards towards, you know, climate change and so much more. But seeing this conflict getting out of hand, my concern is that one day it's going to reach a point of no return, and we're stuck here because of sociopathic politicians that don't care about the fact that they are leading us into an ongoing war that has no end. It's a forever war, another forever war. We saw it in Iraq, we saw it in Afghanistan, we saw it in Syria, we saw it in Libya. It's happening in Yemen. Hell, there's an ongoing genocide still happening in Yemen, of all places. So what I want to say to people that are watching this, we got to break away from this, or nothing will fundamentally change at all.
Yet again, that we can't trust anything that they're saying. We can't trust any of these narratives that are coming out of the mainstream media. The second thing that's important to recognize that is very dangerous is that they are setting a precedent through what her statements are and their actions, that now that it is acceptable to go and essentially use sabotage against infrastructure as an acceptable strategy. So we have to look at our own vulnerabilities in this area, whether it's the undersea cables, our communication systems, our financial systems, our own power grid and energy system vulnerabilities. The list goes on and on. The argument is very clear. Hey, look, if it's okay to go after and bomb and destroy Russia's oil and gas infrastructure, why would it not then be okay for someone else to come and attack our own, exploit our own vulnerabilities here? So this is the position that the warmongers in Washington have put us into, we, the American people, all in the name of saying, hey, we're doing this to protect you. We're trying to protect democracy, but their actions are making us less safe and undermining our democracy, because we cannot have a functioning democracy if we can't trust what our leaders are telling us.
Well, and they don't care about democracy at all. But mark my word,
No.
anyone who calls them out on their lies have already denounced you, for example, as a disloyal American who serves our country in uniform. If this war accelerates, they will go after you and everyone else who's called them on their lies.
That's where it's up to the American people. We're the only, like, where is their hope? The hope lies in our hands to fire, get rid of throw these lying, warmongering politicians out of office, and stop listening to the crap the mainstream media and big tech is putting out, and take a stand for the truth for our country and for our security and freedom.
So I don't think it's too late for us to somehow reverse the damage. I like to hold on to hope that maybe more Americans will wake up to the fact that, yes, we don't want this war to happen. We don't want there to be nukes launching at every single major city in the world. We all deserve a better future. We all deserve, a government that's going to represent us. The first step is for us and all of you watching is to take up the social responsibility to enlighten your neighbors, your friends, your coworkers, your family members. The fact that we are being ruled by dynastic families. We have an oligarchy. Our democracy isn't at risk. Trump isn't the big threat. We already lost our democracy. The criminals are running the system. The Democrats and Republicans are doing insider trading. They are ignoring the fact that millions of Americans are facing homelessness right now. We have money for war, but we don't have money for health care, student debt forgiveness, housing, infrastructure, nothing. But yet they're somehow able to stamp their feet, and here comes the money to Ukraine. The American people need relief. The American people need a system that's going to work for them. Tulsi Gabbard is speaking the truth. And unfortunately, as it stands right now, until eventually enough Americans do wake up, those that are speaking out against the system as is are being vilified and censored. Now more than ever, we have to call out the fact that our own system doesn't care about you. It's a neoliberal nightmare, and we're all drowning in it.